Hey, welcome to another episode of Living the Dream, Tom. I'd like to show you how I've stalled successfully, I might add this time. I'll tell you about the disaster, how I done it the year before last. But yeah, successfully stalled root vegetables in a dustbin, buried in the ground, and I surrounded them in the dustbin with sawdust that I bought from the local agricultural suppliers. There's also beetroot in there. There wasn't any carrots in there, which I have done in sawdust before, but again, had another disaster with the carrots last year. Before we talk about the disasters, let's look at how it went right. First thing we need to do is go and get a sack to put them in, because they're going to come out of the ground now. They've been in there since, when did I harvest those? About September, October last year. So it's February now, middle of February. And hopefully, show you just how easy it is without refrigeration to store root vegetables in the ground off grid. What I've got in the store, the new store, and they're going to come out of the dustbin and go into a paper sack, which is an old sack that I had some chicken food in, and they're going to go into the new store, which hopefully is rodent proof, but they're going to get used up over the next month or two anyway. And some of them, because I've seen already in the sawdust, and that's the other good thing about storing, especially the potatoes, in the sawdust, is rather than rotting or going green if you've got them exposed to the sunlight, they start to put up their new shoots and a few roots. So we'll get out the biggest ones, polish those off, put them in the sack, ready to eat over the next month or so. And then any that are about the size of eggs, they generally say your seed potatoes, which is your seed potatoes, obviously your seed potatoes, the potatoes you're going to grow next year's crop on with. And if you didn't know, that's how potatoes grow. You take one potato, and ideally they say about the size of a chicken's egg. Right, let's go and get a sack, and then I'll show you where the potatoes and the beetroot are living now in the dustbin. Let's go over to the new store. Insulated shed, you could call it, for accommodation or whatever it's needed to be, but insulated, especially for a storeroom, is really handy, because then it won't freeze in there. And I've got all of my reserves. We'll talk about those really soon, actually, before they all get eaten. But all my cider for my apples, my apple juice I pressed, and cabbage, got pickled cabbage, pickled onions, pickled pears, preserved pears in syrup. Right, let's go and get these root vegetables. There's a paper sack. What did it have in it? Mixed corn. Right, let's close that. If anybody wants to see how to build something like a cabin like that, or a pod like that, let me know in the comments below. Some exciting news I wanted to share. I was just about to say in the comments below, if anybody wants to see me film. It's quite difficult when you're building to capture everything, but I'm getting into the discipline of doing it now. But I wanted to share some exciting news to say. I was just scoping out where to build another sort of alpine sloping roof version of what you can see behind me, a little cabin. But the exciting news is, I don't know if I filmed putting the owl box up the start of, no I didn't, because I'd only done this start of this year. It must have been up there 2 years now. I made an owl box for tawny owl. There's loads of tawny owls here in the woods. And just the other day, yesterday, was the first day I came back and seen an owl sitting in the box, and that made my day. It's made my year. But every time I walk along the track now, it seems to be scared away, but it keeps coming back, so hopefully it's going to get used to me. I don't have to walk too far by it. It's 20 meters away or something. But yeah, amazing for me. Even though I talk about low impact, self-sufficient, off-grid living, it's definitely about trying to preserve and extend the habitat for all the other creatures So yeah, trying to think about that all the time. Leaving ivy on trees, leaving dead standing wood for insects and birds, and just trying to fit into the landscape rather than take over. Think like I'm a guest, it's their territory. That's how I see it anyway. Right, let's go and get this root veg out of the ground. Alright, chickens. It's just outside the gate, so I can keep my eye on it, and it was an easy place to dig. Shut the gate so the chickens don't escape. Right, there's a dustbin. I think it might have been in one of my other videos when I was doing the cooking. Just got a roll of fencing wire. Fencing. Just got fencing on the top just to keep the lid down. And if it was exposed to the sun, you could put an old carpet or something over it, but I like to keep the edges clear so I can see if any rodents or anything have burrowed down. This is a sack of potatoes that I bought from the local shop, locally grown. So I know they'd make a good seed potato. Oh, there you go. Trying to keep them separate. And they're already chitting. That's exactly what we want. You can see there, that's about the size of an egg. And then the biggest ones we're going to eat, all we'll do with those is just knock off all the chits. Try and stop them growing a little bit and eat them over the next couple of weeks. But down in there, underneath there, that's where all the potatoes and the beetroot I grew. So I'm going to have to get my hands down in there. Let's get down in there. The only problem about it being so deep, if you've got bad knees, I wouldn't recommend this. But you don't need to have it buried in the ground. You could have this, say like in the cabin there, but not above the ground, and that was how it failed. It failed the year before last because I just had this above the ground in the shade, which I thought would be adequate, but then the frost got to it. We had a week of really severe frost and it went down to about -6 for a few days, and the frost got in and discovered that potatoes, they don't like the frost, and they kind of like all the outside of the skins. There was a few in the middle, but lost nearly my whole crop. It's all about learning. That's what we're here to do. Right, so what I'm going to do is get them out, and as I get them out, I'm just going to take the chips off and then throw them in the sack over there. Just get them out. Keep these ones separate. Those ones that fell down there first of all from the other sack, and they just started to get a little bit of, I don't know if it's mildew or it's got a little bit damp in there. Didn't notice that last year. Maybe I'd eaten them already. But yeah, we'll keep those varieties separate. It's quite dry in there, but I suppose the moisture from the veg. And there you go. Beautiful beetroot. Perfect. That can go in there. And then what I'll do is I'll use this sawdust. I won't put it back in there again. I'll put fresh sawdust in there next year. That can just go in the chicken run or some compost. I'll just show you if I can. That's still all beetroot coming out. I had my best year for beetroot last year. We'll talk about beetroot at some point. There you go. You can see right down in the sawdust, look. They're just growing lovely. A little bit too big for a seed potato. So yeah, we'll just knock the chips off. Put them in. I don't know how many is down there. So I ended up buying some 2 half sacks of potatoes from the local veg shop because of the disaster with the chickens eating all. I didn't actually, well, I put a few in the garden. They didn't do very well last year because it was so wet. And I said the ones that were in the bags, the chickens decided to eat all the tops off. There's a few nice ones in there. I want to keep a few of these for seed potatoes. I've already taken a few out. What we'll do is we'll put the seed potatoes over on there. In case there's not many more down there. Doesn't matter if they haven't got chips on. They're still will end up growing. There's quite a lot of beetroot in there actually. Looks like it's beetroot for tea. I've got a load of pork bones and lamb bones from the butchers. My butcher has to pay to throw bones away. I go in there and I buy a little bit of rump steak. And he very kindly saves me the bones. Right, there we go. There's sort of just, well, a small egg. It's got some nice roots on. Those one's a bit too small. That one there's just got one on, that's quite a nice size, a bit too small. Well, that was a beauty from last year. So it's going to be potatoes, pork bones and beetroot in the pressure cooker on the fasting. It's such a beautiful day. Speak too soon, it's going to rain tonight though. So I thought I'd get this done early and then get the food on the pressure cooker on the fire and have it cooked ready for tea time, and then we can retreat to the cabin by the fire when it starts to rain. Nearly at the bottom there now. I have to get right down on my knees for the last few. Hoping to find a few pink fir apples in there, which are a type of potato. I found them, oh there's one there. I found them hard to store before, but this technique in sawdust, they store beautifully. Look at that for pink fir apple. They're really, well if you know them, they're a great potato. Really nice fried, or like just cut up into small scallops and roasted. There's another one that'd be okay for seed potato. And I've got the variety that I bought locally, so I've saved some of those as well. I generally think as long as you know you've got a reasonable storage system, what stores well, that's what we want to grow next year. It's all about having food, as I said many times, through winter. Right, there's many more in there. Oh dear, look at that one. He's definitely wanting to grow. Like I say, still, as long as you catch them at this stage, I found, potatoes are still, there's nothing wrong with them at all. Really great condition. Oh, another monster beetroot. As beetroot's gone a little bit soft there. So if the shops had closed this winter, would we have survived on what we had? Yes. Hopefully. Just about. Maybe. That's the majority of them. Few tiny ones in there. A few for seeds, could only find one of those pink fir apples. A few for seed, a few out the other bag. Let's go and get them in the store. Leave the ones for seed there. Take those on and keep the ones from the shop separately. I'll put these in the store. Shut the gate. Beautiful song. I'm blessed by the robins here. Can't see where he is. Blue tits on the bird table. Beautiful song, robin. Right, let's get these away. Making hay while the sun shines. Chickens enjoying first bit of sunshine. Had a lovely bit the other day, but it was short-lived. Let's put these away. Nice and chill in here. And so hopefully quite rodent proof. They can live happily there. Okay, come on chicken, let you go. Job done. Just a little look at how I store vegetables successfully this time. All that's left for me to do is go and get some bones out of the 12-volt fridge that is on freezer mode with this sunshine, chilling down the bones from the butchers, the free bones. I think I said that earlier. And then we're going to peel some beetroot, peel some potatoes, get them in the pan and get some tea on, try and get in the cabin before the rain comes. As always, if you've liked this video, please give it a like. And if you haven't already subscribed, please do. It makes a massive difference. We're trying to get to that magic 1,000 subscribers. We'll be there soon with your help. But you know, seriously, please do like, subscribe and share. And at the end of the video, there's a few links if you want to support the channel that way. Thank you ever so much for watching. Stay tuned. We'll see you next time.